It's time to go beyond plus ultra for more Boku no Hero Academia.
I'd say minus Art Lou, but I feel like that's next episode based on the preview we see at the end of this.
Very Arthur next season. I mean, next episode.
Man, you're hitting real far. Are you telling me next season the villains win?
No?
That Deku lied to us at the beginning of the series where he said this was the story of how he became the greatest hero ever? Maybe that's true, but the ending is that he lost. He was the last one standing. That's why he was the greatest.
You know, it would be interesting if dies at the very end, and that's why he's like the greatest hero because he's like stopped all the evil by sacrificing himself. But that's not a good time to speculate now because we're midway through season 7.
We got a lot more time on our hands right now before that happens.
Ooh, yeah.
One person who might not have that time, Bakugo. Too soon?
No. Do I get points because I was going by the preview last time and I said there's a chance he might die in this episode?
We'll give you points. I will give you points for this. You can have 5 points.
Woo!
Although I've got my own feelings about how this goes, so we'll get there. We'll get there.
Are you saying he'll get better?
He'll be better tomorrow.
No, but seriously, are you implying you'll think he'll get better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, but as of now, we're to assume he's dead.
Yes.
Okay, when in fact, he might just be like 1 HP left, the magic pixel.
I'm going to claim victory if it turns out Shiggy has a zombie quirk and he brings him back from the dead.
Oh, no.
Does that count?
I'll give you points if Shiggy does have some kind of zombie quirk.
Okay, no, I am joking about that, but I'm like 99% joking about that. But it would be funny if that was the case. He brings back fucking Bakugo as like a zombie slave to fight Deku.
Oh,
That would be mentally fucking twisted, and it would
yes.
be right up this dude's alley to do that.
Totally.
Don't think that's what's actually going to happen, but yeah, I think there's something else in the works in this.
Okay.
With where it goes. But anyway, let's hash out where this is going in the first place, right?
Yes.
We get a little, coverage of what happened prior before we get the intro, which I'm just going to say this now. I think this has become my favorite intro of the series.
It is
like,
good.
Song alone is like I've been listening to it on loop recently, and it's just really solid.
Full version?
I have found the full version, yes. However, I can't pick it out exactly, but there is like a point in this song where I'm like, that sounds so familiar, and I have no idea where I remember it from. It's the tune that goes like boop 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 boo doo 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 doo.
Oompa Loompa.
It's not Oompa Loompa. I can see why you'd think that. It's not that.
Oh.
It's in a more pumped up song like this, and I can't remember if it's from an American show or if it's from an anime I watched in the past. That specific tune sounds very familiar, and I cannot place it for the life of me. I still like it. I like it a lot. I just can't place the damn thing.
What you should do, dude, is go back through our archive of Brand Discuss Anime episodes and
we didn't cover it there at all.
Oh.
I would definitely remember that. This is from further back.
Oh, further back than like 6, 7
than
years?
When we like anything we've done, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is further back somewhere else, but I can't place it for the life of me. But yeah, so we start off with what is his name? Eraserhead screaming about trying to get Deku on the line, and apparently, most likely because Deku's literally over the ocean with nothing around him, probably can't get anything but static. Hell, they could barely get him through the last time. But we get that shot from the thing before of all three of them right away. I was kind of surprised that was that quick. I thought for sure that would be like at least by the middle of the episode of the big three.
Yeah, because Sun Eater is complaining the school's destroyed. He's like, I wanted to graduate,
I wanted to have a cool graduation, guys.
but now I can't.
But
I think if the episode or the manga chapter 2 episode would have played out differently, we would have had them in the middle because this covered the first the last 3 or 4 pages of one chapter, while the previous episode was like the first 12-ish pages.
mhm.
So at the end of the manga chapter, the big three showed up. So what can you do in like 3 minutes for 3 pages to end a chapter on?
I mean, to be fair, I didn't. None of us know that unless you looked that up specifically, which I assume you
I
did.
looked it up after the episode.
Yeah, like not knowing that going into this without that knowledge, I assumed this was going to be like a mid-episode kind of thing where they all three of them are like, "All right, I'm here now. Let's go." We do find out that Lemillion has been kind of like a quick moving messenger, so at least we know what he's been doing this entire time because he has felt like weirdly absent when the other two are here. So he's been the communications dude, going back and forth and diverting, I guess, extra attacks against other shit.
I forgot he has the ability to like redirect attacks. I thought he was just Shadowcat phasing through walls.
Oh, he is, but I believe he's redirecting via like for brief seconds, making himself physical again. You know, like if someone's throwing a punch, he can make himself physical to like push that out of the way.
Oh, okay.
I assume that's what they mean by like redirecting attacks and shit. Or like, you know, he sweeps in and just turns like Cyclops 180, so he's blasting a laser the opposite direction.
Okay.
You know, shit like that. But yeah, after those three show up, we have well, I was going to say we have Shigaraki manhandling Bakugo right now, except he's really just using his foot for a little bit there,
Oh, it's
having a little
good.
foot play.
It's good that my quirks were erased. Now I can leave a corpse for Midoriya.
I mean, that tells me that he doesn't have full control of the quirks with that line alone, which is the weird part.
Is it because Eraserhead is looking at him like erasing the quirks, and then like that's somehow like messing with his ability to control them?
No, I don't think he has minute control.
Ah,
I think it's like most of whatever he has is wide ranging and overpowered. I don't think he has the ability to either hold it back or the minute control to like laser focus it.
okay, because he was just given these quirks like a month, 2 months ago. We
Well, I
don't.
mean, like think about it. Before he used to just have to like hold you with all five fingers before decay would happen, right? Now decay is just like blasting out at every direction.
So he can't like hold back anything anymore.
I don't think he has the either A, he doesn't have the ability to, or B, that kind of specific type of control is no longer possible. The quirk has just evolved beyond fully being able to control it at will, besides maybe an on and off switch.
Mm.
Like it's either you've opened the valve all the way or you've closed the valve all the way. There's no like slow leak anymore. Anyway, he kicks Bakugo around, shatters his armor, his chest armor, and like gets him in a chokehold, like a one-handed chokehold. And he starts taunting him, like, "Oh man, you know, look how angry he got when you got skewered. What happens if I just, you know, leave you dead here as a present? You know, I'll get a bow tie and everything. I'll use my cloak. That'll be the bow."
I think it was at this point when Nijire jumps in and Shiggy just uses Bakugo as a shield.
Yeah, it tries to hold him up as a shield, and Nejire has to like redirect her own attack at the last second.
And then Sun Eater
Which I'm honestly
uses.
surprised that Shiggy doesn't just take it, considering how fucking durable he is.
Sun Eater has Octopus and Scorpion.
What does he call it? Vast hybrid. Yeah, octopus and scorpion.
And
Which again, I find so here's what I'm curious about, right?
yes.
There's a point later in this episode where they say they can barely scratch the surface of his skin, yet this definitely punctured his body.
Hmm.
I find that a bit interesting.
Yes, very.
Um, Weird inconsistency in my mind, but hey, whatever. Either way, poison goes in, and then a mouth sprouts, which just kind of spits out the poison.
I think Shigaraki says something along the lines of that attack was futile or something.
The line in this was, "Is that all you've got?"
Oh, okay, okay. I
Followed
would.
up by how his body will just keep evolving and adapting to whatever it hits him. Especially if they keep doing slow attacks like this and not like, you know, a big blast of some kind that'll overwhelm it, probably. Not going to
I
do anything.
thought it would have been a bit more creepy if the arm mouth would have said, "Is that all you got?"
I would have liked that better.
With like Shiggy's face just giving the very evil grin
Yeah,
with
the
like
grin, yeah.
it's like haha, but like his arm mouth is the one talking. Ugh.
I mean, now that we have mouths and fingers and hands, I'm getting a real like Deidara vibe from Naruto on this.
Or what was the thing? Like the guy's hand was alive. Was that Parasite?
I don't remember.
Where like I think it was some alien infected the guy's hand, and now his hand is like a sentient being in itself with like tentacle fingers and things.
I don't know that I've seen that, so I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm saying the one from Naruto because we had very much like a toothy mouth on someone's hand with a tongue and everything. Didn't speak, which would have been fucking creepy, but he used it to like mold clay and shit to create bombs out of that clay. Anyway,
Lemillion grabs Bakugo and Genus reels them in.
yep. Get Bakugo away. No hostage.
Hey, Shigaraki, I know why you're so grumpy. You don't have any friends.
Oh, and hey, look who wakes up there. Tenko suddenly has a thing to say. Wakey, wakey, buddy boy. Time for you to assert control over yourself again. At least for a little bit.
Leaving All For One very confused. I thought it was completely fused. Wait, what's this voice inside me? What's going on?
What the fuck is going on? Why is there still something in there? Giannis is looking over Bakugo like, shit, man. Look, you've done enough. All right. Because he sees Bakugo crying. Except, based on what we learn later, I'm pretty sure that's something else.
Yep.
Think that's sweat, my man.
Bakugo says something like, right faint finger?
Right faint finger.
Ah.
Here's what I don't understand is where all of a sudden he's getting this fucking observation hockey, like future sight. Like, what is going on here that he can see this all of a sudden and predict this? It feels completely unexplained. Like Shigaraki says, you were just mimicking the fight from last time, and I'm like, that's not what was happening here. That is very clearly not what was happening here. He was literally predicting the shit you were doing. I don't know how the fuck he's doing it. I thought I came up in the middle of this with a way of how he was doing it. And then I realized, wait a minute, that's not right. Or at least I realized that that's not what they're going for. My thought in this was that somehow Bakugo's sweat was evaporating, and somehow through that evaporation, he could sense the movements of where it was going to happen.
Okay.
But like clearly that's not the way they went with this. and they don't really explain well why he was able to just suddenly figure out where the movements were. They
Maybe
explain like his later part of the ability, right? Of like speed at some point, but not the future sight.
maybe he's growing a small face on his forehead and he's looking into his hair to find visions of the future.
Oh man. I mean, that could be. His hair's very spiky and thick. It'd be hard to see the face if it's there. But, next thing we know, he'll be trying to call someone on a frog.
Right. Fluffy, Fluffy, come here, come here.
Yeah, right. He just grabs Froppy's fucking leg. Just like, hello, boss?
Bakugo, what are you doing? Ribbit.
Oh, God. His voice changes like mid-sentence. Bakugo, what are you doing? I don't know, boss. What am I doing? Bakugo, you need to fight back. That's right, boss. I need to fight back. Except this time it's like fucking Izuku. He's talking to Izuku over the phone.
Shigaraki just looks at him and just slowly starts backing away.
He looks at him like, what the fuck? Anyway, we continue onward with this. Mirko and the others fighting while Bakugo is slowly like figuring out or at least predicting the attacks. Also, his eyes all weird and fucked up, which makes me feel like something else is going on here.
Yes.
Like the sparky, glowy red eye makes me feel like there's more going on here that they don't explain.
Do you
Anyway,
think that is tied to his future sight power now?
what, you think that?
No, do you think that the sparkly eye is somehow.
I mean, that feels like the hint. Like, normally when an eye is drawn like that, it's either purposeful or it's some kind of, like, motion style thing, right? Or, like, a style for, like, as a big hit's coming or something like that. When it's drawn like that on what is essentially, like, a still frame of someone talking, it makes me feel like something more is going on. Like, my first thought was his quirk is awakening to something else. It's evolving or some shit again. The way we saw Decay evolve.
Yes.
But, like, less science bullshit and more natural evolution. Which is why I'm like, oh shit, that's why we're having this whole evaporated sweat thing and him being able to predict it through, like, vibrations or something in that sweat. But again, clearly that's not where they went with this, or at least, if my future prediction is correct, not where they went with this yet.
We have a little bit of Nejiri backstory.
We get a little Nejire, after good old Shigaraki has his freak out and shit, because that happened a little later than we thought. We get a little backstory on Nejire, where she's like all alone, and nobody wanted to hang out with her because she was just curious about everyone, and they shunned her for it. It wasn't until Sun Eater gave her like the thumbs up of like, hey man, we want to know about you too, right? Who's your favorite hero? That we suddenly got like the realization, and it's kind of a shared backstory here between her and Sun Eater specifically.
I wonder how Lemillion came into their friend group.
I think we got a little bit of that in the past when Lemillion was fighting with Chisaki, I think back then, where he and Sun Eater had like met up before they met with Nejire.
Okay, I don't think I fully remember that.
I mean, it's been like 3 fucking seasons.
Or more like 5 years ago.
All right. We get like a mini flashback of like how Lemillion and Nejire are gonna buy Sun Eater some time for some big technique he's got. After realizing what the fuck might be going on with him, Shiggy For One is like, all right, fuck this. I can't mess around anymore. And he starts stalking toward Bakugo and Genist. Meanwhile, Nejire and Lemillion are trying to buy time, same with the rest of the heroes in here, while Genist is helping to protect Bakugo at the moment. And then we get a special old speech from Sun Eater about his new attack, or at least the one that his biggest attack that he's unleashing, which is essentially a fucking like DNA powered railgun is the best way I can call it.
Like, how does it work? Because I could see you, like, eating fried grasshopper. Okay, your legs turn into grasshoppers, you jump good. You eat lobster, your hand turn into a claw. But how can everything you've consumed fire a plasma cannon?
I don't know how this works. We know that he can like fuse the DNA and shit into like a single thing, basically.
And remember,
I'm more curious how he discovered he could do this part. Like,
he
make the rail
somehow
gun.
tied Nejire's quirk laser into this. Somehow.
What I'm assuming here is that the energy is a secondary thing. What I think is this chimera that he makes out of like his arm is meant to somehow focus and intensify the energy
Of
before
Nejire.
releasing it. Yeah, Nejire's energy before releasing it. I think the energy is just the ammo.
Okay.
I don't know how he came to the conclusion that this is something he could do at some point. I think it's fucking cool. I don't know how it works, but I'm willing to go along with it. He's mixed in a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah. Maybe if I would go back and like analyze each animal component.
It's not even just animals, it's plants too. He's got like a Japanese chestnut, dragon fruit.
Yeah, okay, I remember dragon fruit.
Like he's mixed in plants as well as animals in there.
Maybe,
and I don't think he listed them all.
Maybe it has something to do with like chlorophyll or some nature shit like that.
Maybe, like I said, I don't know how he can twist about the DNA within him to make this chimera, but clearly he can. It's not just I eat a crab and I have a crab claw. It's I can eat literally anything and it now becomes its own thing. Like it can now get mixed. So next question, what if he eats one of the fingers? I forget. Does it not work on humans? I completely forget this. It might have been mentioned before.
I don't think he would want to become a cannibal.
I don't think he would either, but I also don't think it works that way. Either that or he's not willing to test it. One of the two.
Yes.
Anyway, buys him enough time to fire, has his speech about like accepting all of like the compliments people have given him that he hasn't been able to like fully accept before. Fires off his big laser, which literally pierces the fucking coffin in the sky.
Yes, and it like starts like destroying part of Shiggy's arm until it doesn't anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just like they've mentioned the actual growth from his arm is weaker than his main body. So it's destroying that shit pretty well. In fact, Mirio even helps out by like teleporting in and sucker punching Shiggy at one point in the middle of the blast before getting out of there. However, yeah, it doesn't do the job. Slows him down for a couple of seconds.
It takes off a good chunk of it.
Oh, yeah. It might have even... No, it didn't. I was going to say, did it sever the fingers? But no, they're still fucking flying around in their 3D like business. And then, as he's probably about to kill Sun Eater there, or like start that, Bakugo's standing.
And here comes Bakugo, and he's able to read most of Shiggy's moves.
He's reading his moves. His actual attacks are dealing what seems to be significant damage.
Because now it seems that, like, I think they said...
Also, he's a lot faster.
I think they said, like, he's now exuding sweat from all parts of his body, boosting his speed and his attacks.
So what I got out of it is, right, the way they explain it is that his cluster shot, where he's collecting boils of sweat in the palms of his hands by his sweat glands, is kind of overexerting their abilities, I guess, is a way to put it, to produce sweat. or it's like the glands themselves can't get rid of the sweat fast enough, so it's looking for another exit. So now it's kind of leaking out of all of his body.
Was the explosive sweat out of a special pore in his body, or was any
It
sweat
said specifically it was out of the palms of his hands before,
okay?
at
Because
least in this episode.
yeah, I wasn't sure if they said it before, like armpit sweat is that explosive.
It's specifically the palms, but now because it's not leaving the body fast enough, it's excreting out of everywhere. My understanding from there is that his speed boosts are literally just the explosions happening all around in whatever direction he needs to move.
Hmm.
So, like, he needs to go forward, his entire back is now exploding, which he has not trained for. So, that's probably causing some severe damage as it's happening. He even mentions, like, how his entire body's in pain and shit
Mhm.
as he's moving. And I assume that's not just from the attacks before. But yeah, they go about explaining how this is working, but not explaining the future sight shit, which I still am like blindsided by.
So when Bakugo sees the All for One vestige,
See,
what
this is
do you
this.
think?
Why the vestige? That was my first thought. Why the vestige and not just All Might himself?
Yeah.
I had to pause and I had to think about this because this might lead to bigger implications later.
And I'm not too sure if this is a movie reference because movies are generally
I
non-canon.
I did think about that and I'm like, maybe that, but if that's not the connector, something else is.
Because I believe in the third movie, Deku temporarily transfers One for All to Bakugo.
If it's not a nod to that, which it could be, I won't say no. I as far as I'm aware, that's not canon, but hey, maybe. If it's not a nod to that, it means potential bigger implications all around, honestly.
Like what?
Like a dog being very angry and barking for no reason. What are you upset about? It's okay. Must have heard something. No, it's all right. Calm down. One for all as a quirk is all about making connections, right?
Correct.
What if that's more broad than we originally thought? Because it's
Oh.
only the one vestige that's there. It's the All Might vestige. The one who has made connections with the most people out of all of the users of that quirk. What if it's not just you had to have the quirk?
Huh. So there's a little bit of One for All in everyone?
I think it's possible. I think
Huh.
that might very well be possible. And if that is the logic that we go down, it might also be the way that the whole quirk thing, the quirk singularity or whatever that they were calling it, might be fixed by
Okay.
coalescing everyone's quirks into All for One.
We will find out eventually. Maybe.
So that was my initial thought on one of two things, right? One of two things is going to happen here. Either A, Bakugo's consciousness, because he does die here, his heart gets shredded from what I remember seeing in this. Like it's gone essentially. Either Bakugo somehow gets better and comes back, right? From
Yes.
a fucking shredded ass heart. Something, it's fucking anime. Wouldn't be surprising that this isn't his curtain call at this point. Although, haha, that's actually the name of the intro song. Or his consciousness and quirk gets transferred into One for All.
Oh.
The main reason I don't think Bakugo is actually dead, at minimum, not fully dead. If he doesn't get transferred into One for All and does somehow come back to life, much as we assumed Dabi was dead, and clearly this preview says, nah, fuck you, he's not dead yet. He's not done.
Yeah.
If you didn't already get that from the intro of this half of the season. if Bakugo is not done, they gave him some stupid fucking bullshit powers here that they just randomly give him before immediately killing him. It feels unfair, and that's not the way this show has gone and done things, or even the manga in that case. Not to mention not fully explained Future Sight and what's going on with that.
Okay, I wasn't fully questioning why he was seeing the vestige of All For One. My mind was going, oh shit, Bakugo's gonna die, isn't he? And I didn't make a connection of like why the vestige, but I was thinking him seeing the vestige means he's in some kind of transference between life and death in this like split second.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure that's part of it. But the fact that it's the vestige specifically and not just a sight of All Might is the weird part to me.
Yeah. And now that
It
you're
should be
saying
All
this,
Might.
I am agreeing with you that it is weird.
So yeah, one of two things is going to happen, I think. Either there's a transference or somehow Bakugo is resurrected here. Not sure who's going to do it, not sure how it's done, but he's not done. He's not finished in this fight one way or the other.
No, no, no. He won't be resurrected. He'll get better.
He'll get better. Give it a day. He'll be better tomorrow.
And
So
I
yeah,
guess that's the
one way or the
episode.
other, Bakugo is not finished in this fight. I'm not sure how exactly, but he's not done. It feels kind of bullshit to give him this random power up and then just immediately have him dead.
So moving on to the preview.
Before we
Okay.
get to that. So the other part that I was more confused by too, and I had to go back and double check it, was like, what happened that he got it wrong? Because up until this point, he was perfectly predicting everything, right? And from what we see here, as everyone is trying to like reach in and save him, it seems like he just was slightly off on his shot. Because we see, I guess you could call it a punch, really, from Shigaraki, hits him directly in the chest. And we see Bakugo's last shot is like just below that punch. So I'm curious how he missed, considering he was just dead on with all of his like future sight predictions of where the attacks were coming from. It seems just weird. Also, slightly sad moment. It starts to rain, and we get a shot of Bakugo's parents saying, like, that kid hates rain.
Yeah.
Sad.
So do you think we'll leave this fight? Because we saw clips of Dobby and All For One. So do you think we'll be focusing on like a 50-50? Because there is
I
shots of
I
Bakugo
do.
too.
I think we're gonna bounce back and forth a little bit here. Because we're seeing that this is the villains kind of re-rallying. Like, we know All For One is like reversing his body's time. How much and how far, who knows?
Right.
As for Dobby, we're seeing fucking like ghost flame zombie coming back, like we saw in the intro.
Yeah, which I'm not too sure what Ghost Flame Dobby means.
Revenant Dobby, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Revenant Dobby, yeah, I don't know exactly what that's going to mean exactly.
But hey, come back with us next week and find out. Like, comment, please subscribe. We would appreciate one or all.
Oh, question.
Yes.
How many points do I get when Bakugo gets better?
Hey, 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 hey. Did I say that he'll get better? Did I?
You did confirm one way or the other. You said he was going to die this episode in the previous one, right? You got your
Okay.
points. You didn't agree with me yet that he was coming back to life.
I will say this will be a turning point for Deku, and he is.
You're not giving me any answers here.
I will
You're,
say
you're trying to
Bakugo.
be a slippery snake.
I will say Bakugo is dead.
All right. What's the wager here? What's the point wager?
5 points.
5 points? All right, cool. I'll take back your 5 points that you got from his death. That's fine by me.
Okay. So, catch everybody next time.
Later.